Okay, today I'm going to show you probably one of the favorite projects I've ever made. It's taking IOD and Paint Couture and making this cute little bunny coming out of this head of lettuce. I was really quite proud of it. Anyway, so first I put a base of, I believe it's Simply White, and then I used the IOD Barnwood stamp because I want to just give the look of a fence behind the garden that the bunny's in. So I use stone gray ink, and you'll see it doesn't get all the way up into the top and bottom because it just can't with the edge on the stamp and then the frame. So I used a little bit of espresso watered down on the edges. My first thought was I would make it look like one section of fence. I end up changing it a little bit later, but it at least got that darker base over there. And then I take a brush and I just use some of the ink and add some extra lines and stuff up at the top so that it extends the the grain of the wood up to the top and down to the bottom. At least at the outer edges, not into the middle, because that's where we're going to have the mold sitting. After that, I knew I would want dark on the inside of the frame, so I painted the bottom of it so that when I put my mold in, I wouldn't have to be painting around my mold. And then I missed the footage of this, but what I did is I cast the lettuce and then I just cut the two side sections off. And then just glued that down as the back piece. And then putting the rabbit in, I didn't want him to like crack because he didn't have anything behind him. So I take and put clay pieces. See, I'm just drawing so I know where the bunny's going to be. Probably not a necessary step, but I did it. And I use clay from the feet that I cut off of him, and then just some other pieces of clay just to build up that back so he doesn't bend too much and end up cracking. And we just get glue all over them, especially out to the edges. Put him down, and then I decided, oh, you know what, his ears might fall back and crack too, so I just take a little bit of clay and put it behind those two. And then the lettuce, I wanted that to go around him because just like a head of lettuce, it's curved. So I thought that would be good to leave it like that, not raise any of it up. And I wasn't really sure that I was going to like the spring garden mold, but I've now used it twice in this project and the one that's going to be coming out right after this. So I've used that one twice. I've only used the bunny once, but it is such a cute mold. And so many people have done so many cute things. So many different colors you can make that bunny. So first I put a coat of just gray primer on him on the whole project. So I would have a good base. And then I started with basil on the back leaves, so they would be darker, and then pulled that white up through it. I believe he's basil on the back. because I used basil on some of them and autumn sage on the others. This is actually autumn sage, I believe, because the inside leaves are the light color and the outside ones are darker. And the white, because, you know, the center of your lettuce is the whiter part. And the second brush I use is actually drier, so it's like just pulling some of the paint up and through instead of it's not really taking off. Now, see, this is the basil. And I use all Paint Couture mineral paint. And again, the Simply White pulled up through there. And you just sort of have to play with it. I mean, if it doesn't turn out right the first time, you can switch it, go over it, pull lighter colors. It's got a top coat in it, so it dries pretty quick and you can just keep going over. If you don't like something, like, you can sort of just wipe it back as long as you do it quick enough. Not like you can wait to take it off if you don't like it, but because the bottom one's got a top coat, it's not blending them together, it's just actually wiping back. Unless you put them both on wet. And I switch back and forth to different sizes of brushes to different widths of things and to get into certain areas better with a finer one. So then I decided I needed the sides to just be the fence all the way to the edge. So I take a little bit of that white on the sides and sort of almost dry brush it through. That's espresso that I'm using for his eyes. And here I was just trying not to get it too solid, so I put him on that white in there, and then I brush some of it off like I did before, and then I use a wipe up in there to just get it softened. And I've seen so many different colors used on these bunnies. If you decide to do one, you could share pictures with me. I would love it. Just because there's so many different ways you can do them, and it seems like everybody's just turned out so cute. So now I use French rose on his nose. And this is just espresso. It's sort of watered down though, so it can be almost like a wash, sort of like a stain on the frame instead of a solid paint. That's light brown sugar and Van Dyke brown. I mixed them because Van Dyke was just going to be way too dark, but I wanted more color than the Van Dyke brown, or than the light brown sugar would have done. I sort of just like him like this when I look at him, so you could do it and to just not put a glaze on, but I sort of wanted something to get down into the grooves that are in the mold. but I like him both ways too. I just thought this would give a little more definition to his fur. I'm just not sure which way I liked it better, light or dark. So if you want to give your opinion on that, I'd like that too. So then I pulled out Verde Green to use in the lettuce. And you could do this just a little bit, like you could do a lot less than I used. You could leave it on and let it even be darker. And I'm almost curious what it would have been like had it with a lighter color underneath, and then let the green of the Verde be like what really gives it the green color. Like more white in the back of it and maybe the lighter green on the outside leaves. Something worth playing with and trying a little bit. And I mean, this bunny could fit in just so many different kinds of things. In a little farmhouse style, cottage style. And depending on the project you do with him, oh my goodness, he could go with just about anything. So now I thought that the white was just a little too bright to go along with this bunny. He was making him seem really dark. So I pulled out the weathered wood glaze and I just put a light coat of that on the background to soften that white down. And then just needed something at the top, so I pulled out the Conservatory labels and made one of them with the center part so we could put a label, put a layer of white on there, and then you'll see, because clay pulls back, this is the next day and there was that white showing through, so I go around, clean up any, there I'm actually getting off some excess glue and some little clay bits that I didn't like sticking out, just scraped those off. And then I'll go through and touch up the paint a little bit to cover up that extra white. If you did it with resin, you wouldn't have that problem, but you got to work with the resin when it's flexible to get the bend. So you have a little bit of extra work no matter which way you do it. What I've also seen since I shared this is someone has done it and they have the leaf down farther, and so like the bunny's sticking up out of the cabbage a little bit. I like that too, it's pretty cute. And with that, you probably wouldn't have to like raise the bunny in the back the way that we had to with this by adding the extra clay. Just depends on if you want the bunny poking all the way out or just peeking out of the cabbage. So the stamp letters were all a little too big for the words I wanted to put. So we chose a few different fonts and printed them on just, it's actually cheap computer paper, so it's extra thin, like from the Dollar Tree, but we use that to decoupage on the words. We wanted to go along with the French theme, so we looked up a good little title for this little rascal bunnies popping up out of the cabbage in the garden. The only reason I pulled it into two was because I needed a little bit more gap between them. I didn't like that it looked printed, not sort of worn like the rest of it. So after it dried, I just did a tiny bit of sanding, and then I whitewashed over top of the letters so that they would fade back a little bit. And you'll see I literally paint over it. It is watered down paint, but painting over it, and then you dab it back just a little bit. And by tearing the edges of it around the paper and then doing this, you really can't even tell that it's decoupaged on. And this is the autumn sage to go around the little leaves in this. And then I pull a little bit of the French rose to do the tiny flowers in there. And basil to do the outside edge. So all the colors in the little label are the same as the ones down in the bunny, so they all just work together very well. And I like the way that dark edge around the outside makes that label pop up. So if you're liking this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd like and share and subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you enjoyed this, and if you'd leave us a comment, maybe comment bunny if you made it all the way to the end, just so we know. And see those carrots? That's the next project.